My hat! This is my 3Racing Cero Sport. So this thing's actually pretty nice. Do check out my other videos. I do have a full build video on this thing and then some tips in the beginning. So the first, I think it's 11 minutes or tips. But anyway, these are 3 must upgrades. The third one is a bias one, so don't worry too much about the third one. It's really the first 2. Now, the one upgrade to do on this car is one of these shrouds, so a fan shroud. Now, there's different types of shrouds that you can get. This one here happens to be an Andy Tech shroud. This is a 3D printed one. Used SolidWorks to design it. Printed one out for me, and the only reason why I'm mentioning this is because this is actually pretty nice, and I'm trying to convince them to sell RC parts for a very affordable price to help get people into the hobby. And hopefully, if I don't know, it'd be nice. And then if you know, he can give me special codes to give you guys discounts, and then I can benefit from it too, hopefully. We will see. That would be nice. Probably not going to happen anytime soon. So, well, I removed this. So let me go ahead and install it, and then I'll move on to the other items. But one is definitely the shroud. So we will go ahead and install this little guy right here. You can use all 4 screws. You can use 1 screw. It doesn't matter. 2. Just use the opposite sides. I'll be honest, that's really all you need. You're just going to need screws that are long enough. But if you use the 1, that's it. That's honestly all you need. You just need 1. But if you really wanted to do 2, just go on the opposite side. Go right over here, which is actually what I'm going to do. And of course, I picked one that's just too short. Let's go ahead and remove it. Gripped just enough. Come on, there we go, perfect. All right, well, let's go in here. So I was just running 1, but I thought, maybe I should run 2. Nope, I'm still gonna run 1. And the only reason why is, it might sound silly, but it's weight. This thing is overweight already as it is for VTA. It comes in at, let's just say 1470 for the purpose of this all round. But the car is definitely going to be overweight for VTA. Then just go here, we get the wire out of the way. And yes, my driver is a little Luigi-looking head. It's not Luigi, it looks like Luigi. But this is it. And then you can aim it. The nice thing is, this shroud is just made to direct air toward the motor. That's it. So you will notice a gap here. That's just so the air hits it, can bounce off and dissipate heat elsewhere. There are some other shrouds that are really, really close to the motor. And unless you have big giant openings in the motor right where it is, the problem is the air sort of gets stuck. So the fan is just trying to push air as hard as it can, but there isn't enough flow. So that's the reason why this is a good option here. It's a nice little gap right there just for air to bounce off the motor and leave. That's pretty much it. All right. So now that this is finished, I have to go ahead and put the spur. So you do have to remove the spur. That's something that you have to keep in mind. The next upgrade is actually the most important upgrade, and I'll put a link in the description for a video. But the very first time I raced this car, this would be qualifier 1 for, let's see, this was September, 3rd of September. I went over a dot. So if you watch my racing videos, the dots are those yellow round things. I hit a dot. That's all I did. And I broke a hub. Now, these hubs are actually very, very weak. And the reason why they're so weak is this metal plate here goes right around this. And then the screws will go, so they'll go right in here, right in this front one. The problem is once you add the shims, I forget if these are 4mm shims. I believe they're 4mm shims. The screw is not long enough to actually go deep inside, and the problem is these are 5.2mm ball studs, and because they're 5.2mm ball studs, I mean, I couldn't find any to save my life. Ideally, I was looking for just the ball stud, and then I could use the little grub screw that's long, because I do have some long ones, and then thread that in here, and then thread the ball stud on top. But I could not find them. I also broke a front one, barely just edged a wall. And yes, the kit does come with better hubs with more fiber in them. They're still horrible. So these things are still horrible. So what I ended up doing is I actually ended up purchasing the aluminum hubs. So let me go ahead and show you. It'll be easier if I do the rear. Now, the aluminum hubs, all 4 of them, if you buy the ones that are actually meant for this car, all 4 of them are $60, which, you know, the car's about $150, and then you're putting $60 hubs. But this is what the aluminum hubs look like. They're actually very well machined. They're a little shorter, so that's something to keep in mind, because if this pin comes loose, well, it's actually the grub screw that's inside that holds that pin. It's probably going to pull out or slide out and then hit right here, and then it'll just stop your car. Versus this, the pin would actually just be scraping the inside. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But then again, it's not something to worry about as long as that is on there correctly. Nothing should happen to that pin. But this is still a must upgrade. And the reason why I say this is the following. During a VTA race, this would be the second time I take it out to race, which would be September 17th, so 17th of September, we changed the direction. So in VTA rules, you can change the directions for VTA, so then you just go the opposite way. So what happened is the wall initially was, say, this way. So here's a wall, and we're coming in this way. So it's never an issue. But now we go the other way. So as you can see, what happened is I took the turn, so I come over for the turn, and the car just, I just hit this car hard right here on the side, just clipped it. So what ends up happening is the following. Because I replaced the hubs with aluminum, the hubs are no longer the weak point. So the weak point is actually the hinging right here. So long story short, I popped the arm out. So the arm popped out. So you can see some of the damage. It's actually just little scrapes. It's not a big deal. And it's this arm, the one that I popped out. So I popped out, so the arm pops out. I can no longer drive, so I just run down really quick. Marshall hands the card to me. I pop the arm back in, and I'm back racing. Did I lose a lap? Yes, I did lose a lap. But at least, well, maybe a little more than a lap, whatever it took me to come down and pop it back in. But then the car was racing just fine. Everything's just fine. So do I think this car is durable? I absolutely do, especially that large impact. So that's upgrade number 2. Upgrade number 3, and I may give you a potential 4. Upgrade number 3 is the bumper if you're running a different class. The stock bumper that comes with it is actually a very good bumper. It fits well in TC bodies, just regular TCs. But if you're running a different class, for example, VTA, which are the best looking bodies, in order to make the body fit, you may have to cut it just like this. But this is a bad idea. I did it because I had no choice. When I finished building the car, and then I was going to go out and race, so I didn't have time to look for other bumpers. I was going to consider getting a foam bumper if the shop had one, but you never know if they're in stock or not. The only issue with cutting this is once you take an impact, these things could potentially cut through the body. So not a good idea. So upgrading the bumper, you could do a foam bumper, or you could do an Andy Tech bumper, just like the bumper that I'm using. And yes, this is the bumper that was on the car when I took that hit. Maybe I should add it to this video. And here it is in slow-mo. There I am taking the turn, and plow right there. So let me go ahead and show you what I hit. So this is after, this is the turn, that famous turn, and there's the 2x4. So when we're coming the other way, it would have not been an issue, but now it is because it's exposed. So again, very, very durable. So this bumper just absorbed it, the body absorbed it as well, and the car survived, and I finished the race. And I did not notice any diminishing performance or anything. I mean, this thing took the hit. So yes, I do think this is a very reliable and durable body once you replace the hubs. The hubs are garbage. They're complete and utter rubbish. I mean, just take these, toss them. I don't even think they're worth being a paperweight. And your bonus 4, even though this is a 3 must upgrades, get a VTA body. These things are just awesome. And they fit amazingly on this car. You are going to need some spacers. I'm running, I believe, 0.5 millimeter spacers in the front just so that the wheels don't hit these arms. But I mean, just look at how beautiful this thing is. I mean, this thing is just gorgeous. This is HPI, and yes, this is the car that took that big giant hit. This is the body. So that would be my recommendation. Definitely the first 3 are must upgrades. And then the body is something that I would definitely recommend because this thing is just gorgeous. So again, this is an HPI body. Just look for HPI. Oh, and the holes, drill them below. This is a little too low, and then it rubs a little. So just drill the holes right here. And once you drill them there, they'll actually be the perfect height. So there we go. I mean, right now the car is not sitting on anything, but if you run them there, that's where you should be running the holes. So that is it. So those are the must upgrades as of now after 2 days of racing for the Cero Sport. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you have not, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Oh, my hair! My car! My rod!